Hi, my name is Lily and welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to be doing my Monsters University Readathon TBR. So if you haven't heard about the Monsters University Readathon, I will link in the description below all of the information you'll need over on Twitter. It is mostly hosted over on Twitter, so that is where you need to be to find out the updates. But I am the team captain for Team OK, which is Team Uzma Kappa, which is the fraternity that Mike and Sully end up joining in Monsters University. So obviously it's the best team. Our team colours are green and yellow, and hopefully there's going to be lots of you who are going to want to join my team so that we can get the most points. How it works is that for each event that the teams have to go through in Monsters University's trials, there is a prompt, and if you complete that prompt you get 50 points for your team. You also get 100 points regardless of how many books you read, so you also get an additional 100 points if the book is a thriller, a horror, if it's a scary book, if there are monsters in it, or anything along those lines. You can't double up the prompts, and it is recommended to do the prompts in event order, but you don't have to. So each team has its own team book, and this book can be used to replace any of the prompts for your team that you don't want to complete, or just because, or you can read it as an additional book. So my team's book was Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. There are 5 different events to compete in, and they are in the same order as they are shown in the movies. So you have the Toxicity Challenge, Avoid the Parent, Don't Scare the Teen, Hide and Seek, and Simulated Scare. So each team's prompts will be different, so it does actually matter which team you pick because different teams will have different prompts, so make sure you'll pick the team that fits best for you. So first up we have the Toxicity Challenge, and for Team OK you need to read a book over 500 pages, and for that one I'm going to be reading Battle Royale. So I do actually own physical copies of all of the books on this TBR, I just couldn't find them all because my TBR is a mess, so I'm just going to put them on the screen somewhere for you. Battle Royale is recommended by Spoops or Holly or from Spoopy Hole, and basically it's her favourite book. She talks about it a lot, and her talking about it has really sold it to me, and I'm really excited to read it. It's a similar idea to Hunger Games but more violent, and apparently a lot better than the Hunger Games, and it also came first, so I don't think it's a copy. And I believe it is a dystopian novel in which a group of high schoolers from Japan are put on an island and told that they have to battle to the death, but I'm not really sure. I can't remember. It sounds really gory, and it's a thriller and it's a horror, and I'm really excited to read it. The next prompt is Avoid the Parent, and that is to read a book set in a different country to your own. I want to read The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This is a horror slash thriller with lots of supernatural elements. It's about a young woman named Manuel who lives in this like church community, I think, and I believe it's slightly historical, and in this church community you're supposed to follow the prophets, and witches are like the enemy, and I think one night she is called into the forest by some kind of entity, and when she's out there the ghosts of the witches that have been killed bestow upon her the diary of her mother who has died, and in that it reveals that her mother used to commune with the witches, and she starts to learn about the history of the prophets and the witches and what's really going on. So it's meant to be really supernatural and a bit of a thriller slash horror, and I'm really intrigued by the premise. The next event is Don't Scare the Teen, and for that one you need to read a book with more than 2 POVs if you're on Team OK, and I don't like ones with multiple POVs. I don't really own many that I know have multiple POVs, especially ones that are also under the umbrella of like horror, thriller or monster books, because I want to get maximum points on my team. So I have decided to use my team book, which is Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is about a girl named Claudia whose best friend Monday goes missing. Basically Monday doesn't show up just the first day of school in the new school year, and Claudia knows that something is up because they've been best friends forever, and Monday would never leave her like that. So she starts to try and find out what's happening, but Monday's family isn't really talking, and no one can seem to clearly remember when they last saw Monday. So it's a bit of a mystery around what happened to Monday and how can she just vanish without anyone thinking it's a problem or even noticing. It's another thriller, and I think Tiffany D. Jackson is known for her thrillers at this point, and it is a young adult, and I am really into YA thrillers at the moment, so I am really looking forward to reading that one. So next we have Hide and Seek, and for Team OK you need to read a book where the characters are on the run. For that one I'm going to be reading Bird Box. You may remember Bird Box, the film came out on Netflix a few years ago and was a huge sensation, and I was really intrigued by it and I found the book in a charity shop, so I decided to give it a go. So Bird Box is about this supernatural entity that arrives on Earth, and if you see it, you are compelled to die, basically. There are very strong trigger warnings for this book that I'd recommend looking up, and for the movie itself. The book did come first, just for clarity, but yeah, it's a story about being on the run because it follows a woman who is trying to survive the apocalypse, basically, and get herself and some others to safety. And finally, the last event is Simulated Scare, and if you are on Team OK, you need to read a book that is popular, and I have chosen Ace of Spades. If you have been on BookTube or Bookstagram or BookTok and you haven't heard of Ace of Spades, how? Like, it is so popular, it's sold in like supermarkets in the UK, and only the really popular books are sold in supermarkets, so that's saying something. And I know that because that's where I bought my copy. So yes, I'm going to be reading Ace of Spades and I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard it's like a Gossip Girl but modern, which doesn't mean much to me because I've never seen Gossip Girl, but there you go. This is a YA thriller that looks into institutionalized racism in America. I believe it's set in America. I think so. And basically it's about this private school where everything seems to be absolutely perfect until one day this anonymous texter called Aces starts sending out messages about two pupils at the school. One is a musician and he seems to be like all perfect and happy, and then his private photos start to get sent around by Aces, and the other one is the head girl who did some things to get her head girl position, and they are starting to be revealed by Aces. And yeah, it's meant to be a thriller, so it's not a drama, it's more of a thriller, and apparently it has really great plot twists, so I'm looking forward to finding out why this book is so popular. So those are all of the books that I'm going to be reading for the Monsters University Readathon. I will try to read them in that order, but no promises because I'm not very good at reading in that order. I'm a bit of a mood reader. But yes, hopefully I will read them all and I will enjoy them, and I will try and get as many points as possible for my team. Now you will see I'm going to have a second TBR coming up this month because I am taking part in 2 readathons this month. I'm also doing the Magical Hopathon, which is a Disney Parks themed readathon hosted by Rachel Keris, so if you want to see that, keep an eye out for that video as well. I was going to originally do them in one video, but because the readathons are structured really differently, it was going to be really hard to do that, so I'm just going to do them as 2 separate videos, I don't care. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a like and consider subscribing to see more content from me. If you want to leave me a comment to let me know you are here, leave me some form of monster or scary ghost emoji in the comments below. Thank you again for watching. Bye!